All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's career conversation hosted by FutureTech Careers. My name is Linus Cackley. I'm the program coordinator for FutureTech. You can think of FutureTech like your own personalized career services department that's here to support students in computer science or advanced manufacturing programs at GRCC. One of the many resources we offer are career conversations, which you are sitting at right now. Our career conversations are professional development events that seek to equip students for work after GRCC. They take one of two forms, including career exposure events or skill building workshops. For our career exposure events, we'll bring in a speaker to talk about their job in the tech or advanced manufacturing industry, what they do, and how they got there. And then on the other hand, our skill building workshops are where we'll bring in a speaker to talk about a skill that's important for any job. Think communication, networking, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. So today we're excited to be hosting a skill building workshop about identifying barriers, which is hosted by Matthew Cherry. Matthew, take it away.
Thank you, Linus. So, guten Tag, meine neuen Freunden. Wie geht es Ihnen? Ist es gut oder schlecht oder... natürlich, wir sind ausgezeichnet. Ich heiße Matthias Kirsch und heute werden wir an Barrieren sprechen. So I'm going to guess that none of you understood most anything of what I just said. Okay. Congratulations, you've just been introduced to a barrier. In this case, it is a language barrier. And why are you not skipping?
Technical issues barrier.
There's always technical issues. That's just what happens. There we go. So the first question we have is, what is a barrier? Now, if we go by Merriam-Webster, we can see that the first definition of a barrier is something material that blocks or is intended to block passage or a natural formation or structure that prevents or hinders movement or action. Second definition is a medieval war game which combatants fight on foot with a fence or railing between them. And the third definition is something immaterial that impedes or separates. Obviously, today we're talking about the second one, so who wants to get between the table and we can find some long spears? All right, yeah, seriously, we're talking about the third definition of something immaterial that impedes or separates. Case in point, the fact that I was just speaking German and nobody here really probably speaks it. So, first off, let's address the elephant in the room. Why is a big white guy talking about barriers? So, I've already said my name is Matthew Cherry. I'm the data tracking specialist for the SEC4 grant. Interesting fact that you might not know is that I've actually been married, will have been married for 25 years this August, and have the father of two. Now, what can we see about me? I'm tall. I'm 6'5". I know that makes me one of the tallest people in the world. I've learned to accept it, but we'll get back to that later. You can see that I'm a white guy. I'm freshly shaven bald, and I have a glorious beard. Now, what don't you see? You don't see that I am always tired. I have multiple sclerosis and fibromyalgia. Those give me chronic fatigue. On top of always being tired, I can't sleep. I also have chronic insomnia. I'm also in pain every minute of my waking life. I'm in pain right now. It is just something that I've learned to deal with. We'll get back to that later. You also can't tell just by looking at me that I am legally deaf in my left ear. You also wouldn't be able to tell that I have undiagnosed, diagnosed ADHD. So, first question we have here is, what is a barrier to you? Think about that for a second. The easy answer is that what's making your life harder? These are some other issues. These are also some common things. If you have difficulty with transportation, whether you're really young or really old, single parents, people who come from a low income, people who are currently in low income, anybody who's learning a foreign language or the language that is predominantly used in the area that you're in, those of us with disabilities, those who are just as impacted. So, can anybody here think of anything else that they might be experiencing as a barrier in their life? I mean, this is only a very small listing of the near limitless things that could be impacting daily life, making everything from getting a job to getting your education to living your life more difficult. With these ideas of barriers in mind, it brings up the question of, now what? What can we do to live our lives with barriers or to improve our lives against barriers? One thing that we can do is we can adapt. This is something that, especially with my deafness, I've done. If you ever see me walking with somebody, you'll notice I always have them on my right side so that way I can hear them. Alternatively, if you ever see me walking with somebody on my left side, it's because I don't care what they have to say. What's something else we can do outside of adapting? We can advocate for ourselves. We can see our barriers, see how they affect us, and then advocate for our human basic right to live, even with something more difficult. Now, for those of us with disabilities, here at GRCC, we have the Disability Support Services. Most colleges, most universities, most jobs will have something similar, whether it's within their HR department, within the student records. But yeah, there are ways that we can find to work around our barriers, regardless of what they are. There are always resources. Finally, we strategize. Once we figure out how we adapt to whatever our barriers are, once we figure out how to advocate for ourselves, we strategize. We figure out what's our end game. How do we want to improve our lives over these barriers? Do you want to let them continue to rule you? Do you want to improve about them? Find ways to, let's say, basically, we form a plan and make a call to action. So now that we've talked about barriers, now that we've come up with some plans, what barriers are in your life and what do you want to do about them? Great. Thank you for coming. Are there any questions?
Now that we're in the Q&A section of this presentation, if you are in the room and have a question, feel free to raise your hand. I'll bring the mic to you. That way folks on Zoom can hear your question. And if you are in the chat, if you are on Zoom, feel free to drop your question in the chat and I'll read it aloud so that we all can hear it in the room.
Thank you, Matthew. Is there a place where students can go if they were having issues with any like barriers? Is there a place where they can go to find help with some of the barriers that you listed?
Well, one place that's always a good place to start with is with our Title IX coordinator and the Office of Educational Inclusivity. I think it is. It's the OEI. So those are two good places to start right off. They are the ones who handle, again, obviously the Title IX resources. They handle some of our ADAs. They handle discriminations, hazing, harassment. You can also go to Get Help. Get Help is an organization here on Instagram campus that is specifically for that. They help with providing transportation. They can help with transportation. They can help with various resources. But I think they can even help you like pay your bills if you're like on a shut-off notice or something like that.
Thank you, Matthew, for sharing. I have a question. So, do you know how long it would take for, like, if a student is dealing with any barriers, how long it would take for them to get the help that they need?
That's one of those things where most of the places want to help as quickly as possible, but there's a lot of different things that can go into that. That's something that you do best to talk with the actual agency and to be able to get a better blanket term on.
Thank you, Matthew. What can I do if I have a student who's experiencing barriers? What can I do to help them? I'm hearing resources, but maybe how to facilitate that conversation so I can direct them to the resources. If this is a conversation that they initiated.
Okay, well, if they initiated, my first thing would be is like the first thing I was going to say is talk to the student, like make sure that they want help. After that, one of the most important things you can do is listen. Just be an ear. Listen to their life story, listen to what they go through, because you need to be able to understand them in order to be able to help them help themselves.
You.
Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciated the German at the very beginning. I had no idea
Es
what
ist
you're
gut.
saying. Um,
Richtig.
so we have coaches here, coordinators that work with students all the time, and the conversation is, are you having any barriers? And a lot of times we don't hear anything back, and it's just kind of like crickets. What would you say to a student as far as, how much we want to help them? And like if you were in front of a student right now saying, do you have any barriers? How would you explain like our empathy? Like what would you say to that student?
Well, I'll use me as an example. I didn't realize that being tall was a barrier until really just the past couple of years. I didn't realize how my deafness affected my everyday life until just a couple of years ago. Sometimes it's just being presented with somebody else's lived experience to make you realize what's impacting you. Generally speaking, though, like I was saying with that, being a listening ear, listening to somebody's life story. It's like, I would say that a majority of the time, people with barriers do not understand that they are barriers because we learn to adapt. We learn to live with them. We do not see them as barriers because they don't impact our life because we've already learned how to live with it. So it's the type of thing that the outside observer can see a lot of things about ourselves that we can't see. And I will always believe that step number one is being there with a listening ear. You can try directing the conversation, try to guide them, say, do you have like this type of it's like, have you ever, or actually that would be a good way, is like, have you ever experienced not being able to make it to a job interview because you couldn't get a bus pass? Have you ever experienced difficulty in school because you couldn't hear what the teacher was saying because of where you were sitting? So that's what I'd suggest. It all starts with listening and trying to be, and it starts with empathy, like you were saying.
Building a relationship with that student, do you think that will help them?
Yes. Trust is another really important factor. My wife was able to call me out on my ADHD and my deafness and how it affected my life because she was able to see it over years, but she was able to do that because I trusted her. So when she said, "Hey, do you realize you do this?" Because again, like putting people on my right side, I didn't until she brought it up. But just that level of trust trust is everything. Trust and communication. So yeah, it's like the more you listen to somebody's story, the more you understand them, the more trust is built, the more likely they are to believe you when you say, "Hey, I noticed this about you. Do you want help?"
Any final questions? I guess I can take the final question, Matthew. If there was
Of
one
course.
thing you would hope people attending this talk leave with as a takeaway, what would that be?
I'd hope they'd have a perspective of looking at their lives, looking at how they handle things, how, like, all those small little things that we do to adapt to something that's affecting us, and just look inwardly and just kind of ask the question, is this impacting my life? The first step to anything, the first step to fixing any problem is to realizing it's a problem.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let's get a round of applause.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for that wonderful presentation. Before we wrap up today, I'll just share a few program announcements related to FutureTech. So this was our last career conversation of the semester, but it is not our last event. Tomorrow we'll be hosting our end of the semester celebration. Please join us. We'll have pizza and gift bags, and there will also be a chance to receive a $25 gift card for completing our end of semester survey. More details about this are on Radar Connect, and we'll also be posting an announcement tomorrow on Canvas. Most of our events have been hybrid, meaning you can join in person or on Zoom. However, our end of the semester celebration will only be in person and will be in the ATC room 231. Again, this is tomorrow at 5 p.m. We also have an upcoming job fair this Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you're hoping to RSVP or just want to learn more, you can scan this QR code. This job fair will take place at our MTech building on Godfrey. And again, that's this Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Next up, we have some conference opportunities this summer. So as I mentioned, FutureTech is done with career conversations for the semester, but if you're hoping to engage in more career exposure events, our conferences are a great way to do that. So upcoming conferences this summer include Tech Trends, Merge, Automate, the Advanced Manufacturing Expo, and Beer City Code. FutureTech can cover the cost to any of these conferences. So if you're interested in receiving free tickets, you can scan this QR code or learn more on our Canvas page. And second to last slide is this one. We have 7 open internships. So again, if you're looking to get more career exposure this summer, an internship is a great way to do that. We have 4 internships at Tech Collaborative that are UX based or web and UX design and development based. We have a tech program assistantship, a systems and data operations internship, and a design engineering internship, all open. The job descriptions for these positions are on Canvas, and if you have any questions, you can reference those or email me. And last but not least, if this was your first FutureTech event, we would love it if you could scan the QR code on the top right. That will take you to our interest form. That's just a space for you to give us your email, and we can follow up with you about how to stay in touch with FutureTech. And if this is not your first event, you already know the drill. Please scan the QR code on the bottom right. That will take you to our attendance form, which is where you share that you are here, and it helps us track to make sure you are on track to your 2-hour per month engagement goal. After you fill out the attendance form, you'll also be prompted if you would like to receive a badge for attending this career conversation. Our digital badges are a way for you to show the skills you're gaining from FutureTech to potential employers. So to learn more about our badging system, you can look at grcc.edu/FutureTech, or you can also learn more about it in the form itself. With that being said, this is the end of today's event. So thank you so much to everyone who came in person. Thank you to everyone who joined us on Zoom. Thank you to Adam from our Media Technologies department for running the Zoom, making the audio and video look great. And last but not least, Matthew, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation.